Hello guys, welcome or welcome back if you're new or a returning subscriber. So, this is video number 3, the last with 3 new letter subscriptions. Here is the synopsis. The Lily Clara Collection is set in the western United States during the year 1884. Frisco, Utah's Horn Silver Mine is the most lucrative silver mine in the world. When spirited New York dressmaker Lily Clara Moore answers a matrimonial ad, she heads west for an adventure that quickly turns out to be much more than she bargained for. There's a scandal afoot in Frisco, one that could bring down the entire Horn Silver Mine. When Lily Clara finds herself at the center of it, the only thing that can save her is her own tenacity and the letters she's been exchanging with a very handsome Pinkerton agent Matthew Hickman, thrown in an outlaw chase, a vengeful vigilante, and a good old-fashioned Spanish treasure, and the Lily Clara Collection is a wild western like no other. The matrimonial news. A wife wanted, bachelor of 35, considered handsome, adventurous, and of substantial means, wishes to marry, is industrious beauty between 20 and 25 years of age, can provide comfortable home and ample adventure via the vast western territories, desires companionship and progeny, will consider immigrants including Irish-born or maidens of Irish heritage, will pay all corresponding postage, and if matrimony is agreeable to both parties, will cover travel and trousseau expenses. Address all letter to Mr. Sylvester Gambit, P.O. Box 31, Frisco, Utah Territory. He is Lily Clara. Her picture, I'm assuming she sent to Mr. Gambit. And let's start with the letters. January 18th, 1884. Dear Mr. Gambit, my attention was called to your advertisement by a dear and trusted family friend. Since you so generously expressed favorable inclinations towards Irish heritage, I am endeavoring to inquire further. I am not Irish born myself. I am an American citizen. However, both my parents were Irish immigrants who came to America in '46 during the potato famine. I am 22 years of age, 128 pounds, and 5 feet 6 inches tall. My hair is red. My complexion is what one would expect from an Irish begot Callan, and my eyes are blue. My temperament is cheery, unless provoked. I am slight but sturdy, and of becoming figure. I sing and play the fiddle some. I like fun and dancing when occasion permits. I am tidy and fashionable, sophisticated in my dress and toilet, and attended 1 year of finishing school. I mention this to assure you of no social embarrassment for me should we become husband and wife. As to my family, I have one sister. She is 2 years my senior and very dear to my heart. My father died when I was a babe, and my mother passed 5 years ago. Any other family I have here or back in Ireland is unknown to me. Regarding my industrialness, I am a dressmaker for the well-known clothier Madame Adelaide Lovelace of Lovelace Lodge and Millinery Co. Before her death, my mother worked as Madame Lovelace's assistant and secured me an apprenticeship there. After 5 years under Madame Lovelace's expert tutelage, I am now a master dressmaker, and my skills are sought after and admired in the highest circles of New York society. In many ways, life couldn't be more agreeable, but I am weary of the crowds, smoggy air, and day-to-day drudgery of city life. I long for clean air, wide open spaces, and the opportunity and adventure I read so often of in the West. It has been my ambition for many months now to follow my own personal manifest destiny and to bring my expertise and the latest finery and fashions of Paris, London, and New York to aid in the civilizing of a more primitive town and cities of our great country. If you find the enclosed photograph description of my person and my personal ambitions agreeable, I would be pleased to commence an earnest correspondence with you. This, of course, would be done with an intention towards matrimony. Lastly, I believe in being forthright and honest in my expectation from the beginning of any relationship. Consequently, were we to marry, I would ask for your most solemn promise as a gentleman to provide the following 3 things. 1. A safe, comfortable home where I am respected. 2. The means to set up my own dressmaking boutique in Frisco shortly after my arrival. 3. Your permission to send for and provide a home for my sister as soon as we are married and settled. Having already desired children, I am certain I would make a devoted and affectionate mother, and as I consider matrimonial love more a matter of chance than anything, if you were to agree to the aforementioned terms, I would consider our chances of tranquil domesticity as good as those of the next set of strangers, meaning in a similarly particular way. Yours very respectfully, Lily Clara Moore. The Horn Silvermine Company, Frisco, Utah. Dear Miss Moore, having corresponded with you for the past few months, I am convinced a finer woman has never tread on God's good earth. I would consider myself mighty fortunate indeed if you would agree to be my bride. If your answer is yes, I will of course agree to the 3 stipulations you stated in your first letter. Since I am fairly confident your answer will be yes. Use the means I wire to purchase a first-class ticket, a trousseau, and wedding finery. Leave New York on the 12th, and upon you reaching Chicago, I will provide one of my own men to escort you the rest of the way to Frisco. Don't worry your pretty head over spending all this money on your trousseau. Miss Lily, there's much more where it came from. And when we're married, I'll happily invest in your little dress shop as well. In fact, I'll begin searching for an establishment suitable for your business immediately, hoping you'll be mine. Sylvester Grant. This is April 2nd, 1884. Continental Union Telegraph. This sent by CR, received by FB, 4:35 p.m., April 4th, 1884. Utah Central Railway Station, Frisco, Utah Territory. To Mr. Sylvester Gambit, I accept your offer and generosity rightfully. Will be ready to depart on April 12th. As respectability demands it, please have preacher ready to perform ceremony upon my arrival. Yours, Miss Lily Clara Moore. Here is this. C. Domer. Groceries, confectionery and cigars, bread, cakes, pies, and lunch. Meals at all hours, ice cream and lemonade. N. Market Street, Marine, Iowa. Victorian trade cards. One of the most interesting and amusing things we discovered while researching for the Lily Clara collection was the beautifully illustrated trade cards tradesmen and women often handed out to promote their businesses, especially popular between 1876 to 1901. You might consider trade cards the grandparents of today's business cards. Tradespeople purposely made them far too lovely to throw away, and consequently, many of their customers enjoyed collecting them for scrapbooks. We found too many beauties with such interesting and often hilarious advertisement on the back that we had to share. We hope you enjoy collecting your own authentic trade card replicas included in each letter, the flower letter team. And here is the postcard. Hopefully you enjoy this, and I will see you in my next video, which will be the second letter of the month. Cool. To Agent Matthew Hickman, Bedford Station, Bedford, Pennsylvania, March 20th, 1884. Matthew, I hope you're checking your mail with all the shining you've been doing around the country the past several months. I'm sending this letter to your mother's residence in hopes it reaches you sooner rather than later. And I hope it's sooner, lad, because I have a case for you that hangs up to the elephant. Do you remember that old church bell, Minnie Wiggins? She was a servant over at all these grand houses in Lincoln Park. Well, she came to the agency the other day and said she was employed by one Captain Jeremiah Rigby, Prusy of Louisiana. After doing my own research, I learned he served directly under General Lee during the war. He's since become a real lally cooler, not to mention part owner of a rather lucrative horn silver mine out in Frisco. He and his lady ended up here in Chicago about a year and a half ago to keep an eye on his investment. Anyway, Minnie says she wanted to repay the captain for his kindness to her. Said he took her in while she was in the family way, even though no fellow was man enough to claim the ankle hitter. Apparently the captain came across some great and cagey misfortune recently. As luck would have it, some of the old bloke's acquaintances brackered him down and paid him a visit not too long after he arrived here. Minnie asked if she could recommend our services to him. I assured her we'd do our best to help any client who crossed the Pinkerton threshold. Well, the captain came around the agency last Friday for an old war hero. He sure looked like he had a real curlaugh. I sat him down, poured him a drink, and had him tell me the whole tale. And what a tale it was, Maddie. They call themselves the Bright Stars. They're three sisters, outlaws, the beautiful, clever, and dangerous kind. They were orphaned quite young. Their Dr. Lyle Starr, served alongside Captain Rigby during the war. He was a surgeon and little-known assassin for the Confederacy, notorious for using his apothecary knowledge of plants and other medical compounds to furtively take down Union targets. In fact, they suspect he might have been the one behind all the pie poisoning in Kentucky. Needless to say, Starr was a real bad egg and was killed just after the Battle of Antietam. Miss Starr expired during the New Orleans yellow fever epidemic in '68. As her dying wish, she left her husband's friend, Captain Rigby, with the charge of personally delivering the Starr's 3 daughters to their father's sister in California. Their mother wanted to keep them from being placed in a Union orphanage. Well, the captain said he did just that, and that was the end of the story. He never heard from them again, until a few months ago, that is. Turns out the Star Sisters decided to pay the old captain a visit. They came looking for work at his Chicago mansion. Rigby didn't recognize them, of course, because they were only small girls when he left them with their aunt. To further ensure they would not be recognized, the girls took the precaution of each seeking employment from him separately, pretending not to know one another. Apparently, our Captain Ruby had a soft spot for a pretty lass because he hired all three within days of each other. One sister, Azalea, he hired as a personal maid for his wife. Another, Jessamine, as a seamstress for his two teenage daughters. And the third, Belladonna, the oldest and most striking of the three, as a cook for their entire household. A fortnight ago this Friday, after the Stars had been working for Captain Ruby for a few months, they executed a plan that must have been a while in the making. They waited until after dinner, when the old gent took his lady and daughters out walking along the river. That's when they struck. Belladonna, who, no doubt using one of her father's old war recipes, cooked up some sort of simoleon and fed it to the rest of the household, while Jessamine and Azalea broke into the captain's secret safe and stole everything monstrously precious to him. Then the three of them absected themselves from town. I'm sorry, I'm butchering these words. I can't say them. They're very fancy. When the captain and his lady returned to their mansion before that evening, the bright stars were gone, his secret safe was empty, and the rest of his household stuff was dead. That's right, Maddie, dead. It appears Belladonna concoction poisoned every last one of them. After sending out his own vicarage, Captain Rigby was able to ascertain that the sisters are heading south to the Mexico border. However, they're taking great care to only travel through the less populated territories to get there, which is why Rigby came to me with the intention of hiring our very best agent for the case. He prepared to pay handsomely for the Star Sisters' capture and return to Chicago. Rigby wouldn't give specifics about what the sisters stole from him, however. He suspects they're heading straight for Frisco. So I imagine whatever they're stolen has something to do with Horn Silver Mine. I told him you were the bloke for the job, Maddie. No one has the field experience you do. No one knows the territories like you. And I have never seen anyone track with this much accuracy. So here's my proposition for you. Take this case, and I will personally see to it that my brother terminates the last of your debt to my father. As soon as you successfully return the Stars to Chicago, the reward money is yours, and the captain's commission will more than cover anything that you owed Daw. Now, before you consider refusing this case, as you have the last 7, I know Lizzie's death was a kirklaugh for you. We were all devastated by the loss of such a promising agent, not to mention the betrayal that caused it all. I know you were closest to her, but Maddie, you and I both know she wouldn't want you letting a trio as bad as the Star get away with mass murder. You've had plenty time off, lad. Don't you think you should get back in the saddle and do what you do best? When it's all over, you can take the reward money and finally start living the good life you've been telling me about all those years. So now that I've prepped you with enough niceties, wire your acceptance as soon as you read this. and then hightail it back to Chicago. There's really no time to waste. Yours, Bill. Bill Pinkerton, Pinkerton Detective Agency, 94 Washington Street, Kendall, Block 3, Chicago, Illinois. Here it is. Continental Union Telegraph Company, sent by NJ, received by KR, time 12:36 p.m. Date April 4th, 1884. Chicago's Telegraph Station, 94 Washington Street, Kendall Block 111, Chicago, Illinois. Bill, I never took you for the flattering type. By the way, you're bad at it. Horns around mine, you say? Isn't that Jay Cook's $1 Million Miracle? I'll be there in 3 days. Matthew Hickman. Okay. Here is... Don't look upon this picture and on this. It says a new and perfect sash lock. And then Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Pinkerton's fire hire. Do you have a strike on your hands? Is an outlaw menacing your community? Are you or your family in need of protection? Hire the National Pinkerton Detective Agency. We never sleep, so you can. Originally funded by Scotsman Alan Pinkerton, the National Pinkerton Detective Agency now has 2 branches run entirely by Pinkerton-owned son, Mr. William Pinkerton, Chicago, and Mr. John Pinkerton, New York. Write or stop by headquarters for a consultation today. And then here is the wanted poster. See if I can... Hopefully you enjoyed this letter, and you'll definitely see it next month. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!